share that heat of love. I wanna ride working in the sun. I wanna working in the sun. I wanna Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm gonna do a little story time. It'll probably be like 2 parts. So when I told the other story, somebody said I wasn't a good storyteller, but I had recorded that video like 3 times. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. When you get to 10 minutes, it just deletes it. I don't know where. I just did it again and it did the same thing. So anyway, I'm just doing my lashes and I'm gonna tell a little story. So after the strip club, I worked in a sex store named Loved Ones. So I was working there at night. I was actually working at a law firm during the day and this sex store at night. So it was pretty easy money. Weird ass people, but so there was a guy, he kept coming in. Well, he would just come in and then leave. So I'm like, why does he keep doing that? So he did it like a couple times and he was like standing around the counter. You could tell he wanted to ask me something, but wasn't too sure. So the one day I was just like, sir, can I help you with something? So he asked for our previous employee. Let's name her Susie. So he's like, where's Susie at? Like, I haven't seen her. I've been coming here. I said, she don't work here anymore. And he was like, oh no. And I was like, why? What's wrong? He was like, oh, nothing. So he leaves that day. So he comes back in. The next day I'm working. Well, he's standing around the counter again. And I'm like, can I help you with something? He was like, well, I didn't have the nerve to ask you last time, but the girl Susie used to do something for me. So I'm like, oh God. I'm thinking, oh God, this bitch was a prostitute. It's probably going to be like 2 or 3 parts of the story because I'm just doing 3 minutes at a time because you ain't getting me again, TikTok. So I'm like, oh God. So I'm like, what? What did she used to do? So he said, I used to buy her underwear. I was like, okay. He said the ones that she would be wearing. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a little weird. So I'm like, okay. So you're probably going to have to go to part 2 because I'm getting ready to run out of time. But I'm going to post it right after, so. Okay, so part 2. I don't know what the hell's going on with TikTok. So he was coming in like weekly. I started giving him like underwear off the rack because giving him my underwear was so weird. So I started taking underwear off the rack, peeing on them, and then giving them to him. And he would give me $2.50. But it was funny because the days that he didn't have money, he would bring back my old underwear in these bags and ask if I could re-piss on them for $150. And I'm like, oh, this is so strange. So one day he's at the counter and he says, I got a question. And I'm thinking, oh God. He said, I've always wanted to taste what urine tastes like. Who the fuck wants to see what urine tastes like? Who? Whoever sat there and wondered like, oh, I would love to know what my piss tastes like. No. So I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, look, if I pee in a cup and give it to you, you need to go outside because I'm going to throw up for real. So he goes outside and he's out there for a few minutes. So he comes back and half the cup is gone. Meanwhile, I'm gagging because even the smell of pee, like, how do you even put it towards your mouth? Like, how do you put a cup with pee towards your mouth? Like, for real. So he was like, oh, that was so good. I'm thinking, ew, you just drank my pee. Like, you don't know me? I could be the dirtiest bitch alive, and you just drank my pee. Okay, guys, so part 3 of how I sold my pissy underwear. Okay, so we're on where he went outside with my pee in a cup, and he came back in, he drank it, and was like, oh, this is... When he came back in, he had to go outside because I was gagging at this point. So he's like, oh, it's so good. Like, I've always wanted to taste pee. So meanwhile, I just started dating. I had to finally tell my husband, like, look, this is what I'm doing. So he thought it was the craziest shit ever. Like, what in the hell? So I had to tell him because the guy was always up there, like, waiting for me, waiting for me to come. He was there before I would even work. So I had to tell my husband. So finally the guy says to me, well, I have another question. I'm like, what? He was like, I always wondered if someone could, I always wanted a girl to shit on my chest. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, look, now that's how it has to draw the line. Because for one, I can't shit on command. Like, who wants to shit in front of someone? Not me. And then, like, ew. Oh my God. So I would have to straddle him and shit on command. Like, and I was like, look, you know, I'm already out of my comfort zone with this shit. There ain't no way I'm gonna do that. So he would continue to come in for a long time. I swear, I did it for a couple years. I ain't lying. For a couple years, I did it. Until finally, I got a different job. And just left. I know he was heartbroken because I never seen him again after that. Like, I never had his number, or he had never had mine. He just knew where I worked. And would just go hang out. But men, I can see where women get the money for pics. Like, you can make money. Men want some weird shit, boy. I have so many more stories to tell you guys. So if you want any more stories, I hope you enjoyed this one. It was pretty funny. But yes, you men are in some weird ass shit. But I had to tell my story. I thought that was so funny. So I hope you guys like the story, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Share that heat of love. I wanna